All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what part of the world you are in. Let's get you on. Voice on. Display capture, because I don't think game mode still works. Yeah, for some reason, game mode does not work on FS22. I have no idea why. Let's back on display capture. Display capture works for some reason. Game mode does not. All right. Now, the map update is going to require a new game save. So my test map is screwed. And my realistic save is screwed. So we've got to delete both of our save games. We're going to jump into a new test map today. Let's jump in here. I'm going to jump in Farm Manager mode because that's the one we were having the problems with. And we can this will be my test map. We're just going to cheat some money in. So let's jump in here. Fishing was broken in Farm Manager mode. It wouldn't even load into the game. So none of the fishing spots were working in Farm Manager mode. So I'm not going to do a full test. I'm just going to test fishing. And then we're going to test I upgraded the fertilizer factory. Now it makes herbicide. We're going to retest the soy milk factory so I can get that added back into the mod pack. And then there's a new vehicle for fishing we're going to test as well. So let's jump in here. We should not own any land, I don't think, because we're now so we're now in a different mode. So let me grab speed mod, a little bit of speed. Let's throw some cash in there so we can test. Alright, so we got some cash to work with. Since I'm going to throw some factories down, we're going to buy a couple things first. We're going to get the starting area, just so I can throw some factories down. I'm going to buy the fishing, and I'm going to buy fish processing. And then I want to buy the coal mine because I want to test some pricing out. So I've balanced out some pricing. Now, I've doubled the price of land. So land is now going to cost you double from what it was in version 1.0. Just want to check some prices because I may raise it up even a little bit more. I just want to check some prices here in a second. Now that's much better than what it was. So I doubled the price of land and I neutered the price of the raw materials. So like when you're selling off like coal and ore and silt, you're not going to get as much money as you did. So let's check. Let me grab my store delivery mod. Actually, let's do this. Since this is my test map, I'm just going to get rid of everything just so we can start fresh, and I can only need, I'm just going to grab vehicles as we need them. So I'll only buy what we need so we can get rid of all this crap off the map. This will not be my realistic play. This will be like cheat everything in testing so we can move on and get this map back out to the Patreons today. And we can get it released on Friday. Alright, so now that they're out of my way, let's grab our store delivery mod. And I want to test the prices of the mining first. So let's grab our tractor. It's got the bigger engine. I'll throw the wheel weights on it. Let's grab this one, Papa Smurf's Crone Trailer, which I haven't Dixie adjusted hers. I haven't adjusted mine yet. I just haven't had the time. Let's get the bigger extension on it. And then let's grab the snowblower. Let's just go with like an orange. Alright, let's test the prices of the mining materials first and see how bad I drop them. And then we'll test fishing. And then we'll test the couple factories I've adjusted. Oh, did I miss the milling machine? Now I unload. Now I unhooked from the crone. Alright, now I got my shit together. Alright, let's test the new prices of the mining materials. So you're not going to make $1 billion selling your mining product off anymore. It's going to be a little bit more of a challenge on the map. And I'm going to turn traffic off for testing here in a second. And then I'll go over the changes to fishing. Alright, so let's get this unfold. Let's get it unfolded. We'll get the pipe out. Alright, we'll get it unfolded. We'll get the pipe out. I'm going to turn traffic off for testing just so it's not on my... Oh, there's a couple changes I want to make since we're in here testing. 1 time speed. Let's turn traffic off. That needs to go off. 1 day. And then crop destruction off. Turn those off. This is my test map. I don't think we'll be doing any field work. We know the stones work. I'm going to turn weeds off. And then I want to turn all this off. So this will be our new test map. Dixieland, sorry y'all. I made mining and money making it too easy. I want to see what the new prices of a load of coal is going to be. If I have to raise it back up a little bit or if I have to lower it some more. So the first thing I want to do is test the price of coal. And see what we did to it. And then I finally got fishing fixed this morning and got all the errors out. So I had to rebuild the fish warehouse this morning. Alright, so let's get that turned off. And of course, hang on, I'm going to fill this back up. And I'm going to turn my pipe off. So I want a full 2.5 million liters. Let's make sure we're at a full 2.5 million liters. Alright, so let's turn that off, and we'll get the pipe in. Alright, let's head over to the sell point and see what I did to the price of a full load of coal. And then we'll go over fishing and all the changes. And it's going to require a new game save for the Patreon members and the testers. So every factory that had what Dixie calls the wire cage, so where you had to drive your truck through that wire cage, I got rid of it on every single factory. So every single factory now has just a pipe where you're going to unload your product. So you can get the wider vehicles in there now. So every mine, mammoth mill, the carpentry, whatever had that wire cage where you had to drive through, they've all been eliminated. So you can get your bigger vehicles and loading wagons and stuff in there. Auger wagons. So we should only make about half of the money we were making, or less than half the money we were making on a full load. Alright, so let me get the pipe back out so that empties as well. And then let's get this unloaded. So we'll see how much cash we get now on a full load. I still have to update my, I've got to go in and mess with the unload speed. It's way too low. So let's sit here a second and see what this does. So I may lower these even a little bit more before we release the map. Yeah, Cherokee, yeah. I just got the fixes done about 15 minutes ago. So I just want to make sure there's no Lua errors in the log before I send it to Dixie. I just finished rebuilding fishing this morning because it would not show up in game and farm manager mode. Wouldn't even spawn into the game. So none of the fishing spots were in there. And a few other buildings were missing in farm manager mode. So this may be a short stream after I test a couple things so I can get out of here and then get the map. I'll make sure there's no errors in the log. I'll get the map to Dixie for testing. I'll take an early lunch, and then after lunch I'll come back and we'll restart a realistic save. So everybody will get version 1.1 of the map, which has everything built into it for the orchards, the greenhouses, and the dairy, but you will not get the greenhouses, the orchards, and the dairy buildings physically because they're not finished yet. But all the fill types are built into the map. So you will not need an update when I put out Mod Pack 2. So you'll only get Mod Pack 2. You will not need a map update. So what do we get? Only $30,000. That's what I was looking for. So you're not going to make $1 billion selling your mining material off anymore. So you're going to need to use your mining material to turn it into other products and then sell your finished goods. So it's going to be, now you need to earn the money. So no more free $1 billion on selling mining material off. Alright, before we test fishing, I want to test a couple other things. Let's go back to here. Oh, am I stuck on the porch? I'm stuck on the porch. Get me out of here. Alright, let's grab... what do I want to test? I want to test a couple more things. So let's grab another tractor. Bigger engine, we'll go to wheel weights. And I'm going to get another trailer, but I'm not going to up the capacity. I just want this for testing. So I only want a little bit of product in it. So I'm only going to go up 1 on the capacity. And then I'm going to put down a couple factories I updated this morning. So let's grab, because I haven't tested them yet. So I updated the fertilizer factory v2, because I've got v1 in my mods folder yet. I've got to get rid of that. So v2 is updated. You won't have v1, you'll only have v2. And then I want to put down Sawmill 1, Sawmill 2. I'm using a lot of this stuff on my No Man's Land map. I want to put down Soy Milk Factory because I updated that this morning as well. Alright, so this should now make fertilizer and herbicide. Okay, what did I, okay, yeah, so it will make herbicide now. So it's going to make solid fertilizer, liquid fertilizer. So solid fertilizer out of silage, silage and water, liquid fertilizer, silt to solid fertilizer, silt and water to liquid fertilizer, and then potatoes and water to herbicide. So we're going to test that. And then Soy Milk Factory is going to be just soybeans, real simple. Soybeans, I left water out on purpose. We're going to get milk, we're going to get hydrogen and oxygen, so we can, hydrogen and oxygen to make more water with. And let's throw down Waterworks, so we can test that as well. So let's throw down Waterworks, so we can test the production chain. And I want to throw down the liquid warehouse, because I don't know if I added herbicide in here. I might have forgotten. So let's grab, did I not put it in my mods folder? I did. Liquid warehouse. I want to test that as well. So let's get this mess tested and we'll go over the changes on fishing. Now, I can show you the new truck, because this is our new truck for liquids and fishing. I got rid of that green truck and the green tanker because I was having all kind of problems with it. So we have a new truck now. This thing is so cool. I'm not taking credit for it. I didn't make it. The only thing I did was change the fill types, the capacity, and the speed. So the original author is getting full credit for this truck. But it's the cool. It's not. It's. I think it's my new favorite truck in the game now. Alright, so let's do a couple things first. I'm going to leave them on storing until we test, and then I'll change them to distributing. So let's make sure. Oh, crap. I may have messed something up with the fishing warehouse because you're not supposed to own it. I'm going to have to go in and make another adjustment to the fishing warehouse, which is going to cause another new save game. Alright, let's get out of here and start over. You shouldn't own the fishing warehouse on a new game save. So let me see what I messed up there, so I can start over again. Alright, so fishing warehouse, what did I do wrong? Fishing warehouse. We should not own you on new game save. So can be sold, false. Show and in-store, false. Placeables. Fishing warehouse. Okay, I messed this up. Alright, let me change this to here. So now we will no longer own it on Game Start. So the only thing Farm ID 1 should be the farm silo, the farm barn, and the farmhouse. So anything with farm ID, they shouldn't be on any of the factories. Okay, they're not. Alright, so let's jump back in here and I got to start all over again. Shouldn't own anything on map startup. Alright, so let's do that over again. So save game 4, I'm going to have to delete, and let's jump back in here. Let's go back into farm manager mode, because that's the one we were having the most problems on. And then let's just start over. So we know that the mining's been neutered. I don't need to retest that. So let's retest the factories. I got to put the factories down I just put back down. And make sure we don't own the fish warehouse on startup. I don't care what my character looks like. Oh, let's do this again. So let me grab my speed mod. Let's grab some cash, since this is our test map. Let's take care of that first. Let's get rid of all these vehicles because I don't want them sitting here. We'll just buy what we need for testing. And then I'll go over the rest of the changes as soon as we get these factories tested first, and we'll get fishing tested. Alright, so that gets rid of that mess off the map. We need to buy, let me change a couple things up real quick. Let's come back in here. Let's go to real time for testing. I'm going to turn traffic off for testing, seasons off, crop destruction off, weeds off, and then I'm going to turn all the helper buy off. Alright, we need some farmland for testing, so let's grab this guy, and let's buy fishing because we're going to test that. Alright, so let's test a couple factories that we need to test again. So we need to test, actually hold on, before I go there, let's make sure we don't own, wrong one. So make sure we don't own any factories. Make sure we don't own fishing. Okay, so we do not own the fish warehouse. So now we can test this again. So I'm going to put down Fertilizer Factory V2, which is the one you'll get in the mod pack. We need to test soy milk production. So let's get that down. We're going to throw waterworks down because we want to make sure it pushes hydrogen and oxygen to there and we're making water. And then I wanted to retest the liquid warehouse because that's been adjusted as well. Alright, so we need to test those. So let's take this one. And I'm going to leave them on storing for now so I can test the outputs, and then we'll push it to distributing. So let's activate everything. Did I put herbicide in here? Did I miss herbicide? Okay, I do have herbicide in here. Now these I'm going to set to distribute since it's the warehouse. So this should now hold every liquid on the map. Alright, so let's grab our tractor. And I'm going to go with the wheel weights and the biggest engine. And then for testing, I'm going to get the smaller tipper, just so we have just enough capacity for testing. Oh, wrong way. Just enough capacity for testing. And we're going to get our new little truck. Alright, let's test the new herbicide out. Oh crap, I forgot to move my store delivery mod. Alright, we can go for a drive. I'll show you, which is good anyway, I'll show you off. I got rid of the covered bridges because you couldn't get any big vehicles through there. You couldn't get the big plows and the cultivators through there. You couldn't get large equipment through there, so I got rid of the covered bridges. And I widened the bridges that we're going to go over now, which is just a regular road bridge. I know the covered bridges looked cool, but they did not work. They were not practical. So we have, now you can get your big equipment through here. And I'm going to get rid of this barn for testing. Turn my camera around. Let's get rid of you for testing, just so you're out of my way. So that's been fixed. Those bridges were driving me nuts. Austin the Guns, hey old man, did you learn to make maps? When did you start? I started with FS17. I built Ritchieville for FS17, never released it because I didn't know what I was doing, and I couldn't get all the errors out of it. So I made a complete map for 17, never released it. I used it as a learning tool. And then I built my first map for 19, which was Ritchieville. I finally learned what I was doing. So I got that released for FS19. So it took me an entire year just as a learning curve. What are we looking for? We're looking for silage and silt. So I want to throw a load of silage in here. I want to throw a load of silt in here. A lot of watching YouTube videos, a lot of watching map authors on Twitch live, building. I want silt. They're good and I enjoy them. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, it was a big learning curve. A lot of YouTube videos, a lot of watching live streamers on Twitch, working on maps, working in the editor, and a lot of trial and error. Mostly all trial and error. Let's get our new truck over here as well. So you're going to need this truck for fishing if you do not use the automatic distribute. If you want to manually fish, you're going to need this truck. And we'll go over that here shortly. And I want to put a water tank down, a water buy station down, just so I could test this truck with it. Actually, let's throw that down like right here. So where is construction? Is it container? It is. Let's throw that down. Let's get this thing spun around. I'll throw you right there. So now you do have to open the cover, and it actually works. I couldn't get that other green truck to work. So let's grab some load of water. And I want to take this to the gas station. I want to test diesel with it as well. Matt K, good morning. If I missed anybody in chat, I do apologize. Awesome. So fill trigger works, unload should work. Awesome. So let's get some water in here. Oh, we got to throw a load of potatoes in here so I can test the herbicide. Oh, it's just going to empty this truck out. Let's get this out of the way. Let's throw a load of potatoes in so we can test the herbicide. Let's grab a load of potato. And make sure that works. So you'll be able to make your own herbicide now. And you'll need herbicide for the orchards and greenhouses. Alright, so this should now be active. Alright, so we're storing fertilizer and we're storing herbicide. Okay, so I just want to store that because I want to test the triggers. Alright, Soy Milk Factory. Soybeans, and then we should get 3 products out of it. I'm going to leave it on storing because I want to test the output triggers. So let's throw a load of soybeans in there. And then this should have gone active, and we'll test the triggers. Alright, so this should start making us milk. It is. Hydrogen and oxygen. Awesome. So I want to test the triggers, so we'll manually take them out. Waterworks, we're going to put some hydrogen and oxygen in here, so I want to test those triggers. So I'm not going to do anything there. And then liquid fertilizer should, I don't need to test anything there yet. So let me go forward time for about an hour. Let's go 360 speed for about an hour or two just to get these factories to produce something. Yeah, unfortunately, Matt, it's going to be a new game save when I give you the update today because of the changes I made. Alright, so we should now have solid fertilizer, liquid fertilizer. I'm just going to leave store, and then herbicide. I'm going to after we take it out, I'm going to change to distribute to see if it'll push it into liquid warehouse. So I just want to make sure that we can pick up herbicide here manually. So I should be able to get it in here now. Give me a start filling, because I've not tested. Oh, this truck's going to need a liquid trigger. Darn it. Oh, so I've got to add liquid triggers. I knew I was going to have problems with this truck on some of the factories. It won't load because there's 2 different triggers. There's a bulk trigger and there's a liquid trigger. This factory has, if I show you F5, this has the bulk trigger, which is just a line straight down where you pick. Let me get this truck out of the way so you don't see the other collision. So this truck will only pick up from a liquid trigger, and I don't know why. I'm still working that out. But if you see this line coming straight down, that's the trigger for bulk. If you come over here to the liquid warehouse, oh, this is not going to work over here either because of this trigger. This has a bulk trigger, it doesn't have a liquid trigger. I'm going to have to do some more updates today. Now this has a liquid trigger, it's just one big solid box. Now the problem is if I add the liquid trigger over here, the bulk trigger stops working. So we're going to have to come in here and mess around with that a little bit. So triggers in 22 are a royal pain in the ass. Let's turn that off. So this is not going to recognize a bulk trigger. It's only going to recognize a liquid trigger. So I'm not going to be able to manually take product out of here. All right, let's try something else then. Let's go in here. I want to see if I can load an in-game. Do you take herbicide? You do. That is herbicide, right? No. What's the symbol for herbicide? I don't have these symbols recognized or memorized yet. What's the symbol for herbicide? Herbicide is the little, looks like a milk jug. All right. So this will take herbicide. I'm going to test a trigger with this and see if it's just a truck. Oh, when I left, I got to move my store delivery mod. All right, hold on. We're going to sell that off. I'm going to move my store delivery mod. Let's come back over here so I can move my store delivery mod. Alright, let's try that again. I'm just going to lease it so I can return it. But let's see if this works with the bulk trigger. I may have to change some of the triggers out. So this will start filling. Do I have to open the cover? Is there a cover? No cover. Okay, so it will fill herbicide. The truck, I'm either going to have to change the trigger out or figure out why the truck will only pick up from a liquid trigger. So I'm not getting a start filling at all. No. Okay. So the truck's going to need some work, or I'm going to have to put double triggers in the factory. Which means this is not going to be able to pick up milk from here. Which trigger does this have? We may be playing with triggers here in a minute. This one has... Okay, that one has a liquid trigger. Let's see if I can get it to pick up from the liquid trigger. So will you get... It is making milk, right? We did get this thing started. Yeah, it is making milk. Let's see if I can pick up liquids over here. And we'll see if we can get a double trigger to work. So I should be able to pick up... Alright, so I get a start filling. Alright, so I can pick up oxygen, I can pick up milk, I can pick up hydrogen. Let's pick up the oxygen. And we'll drop it off over here. And now the liquid storage, let's throw something in there just to see if I can pick up from here. Do you have anything in you? You're completely empty. Alright, you're still completely empty. Let's drop a load of water off in there so I can test a trigger. Or really any liquid. Let's throw some resin in, just so we could test in and out. I may have to change up this trigger as well. So what trigger does this have? This has a bulk trigger. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to pick up over here. So it looks like we're going to test fishing, and then we're going to work on some triggers. So I don't want to release these updates today if the triggers won't work with this truck. So because this is the wrong trigger, the truck's not going to recognize it. All right, that answers that question. So we have a couple factories we're going to have to update. I'll have to get those updated before I give the updates to Dixie. So let's go test fishing real quick. And then we'll work on some factory trigger fixes. You're going to need this truck if you're going to do manual fishing. Yeah, I hate triggers in 22. They're a royal pain in the ass. How fast should the boat is now only decorative for the new update. The boat is no longer, you can't use the boat for fishing on the update. I'm going to go over that here in a minute. The boat has been fixed for update 1.1, but it's only decorative. I had to change fishing up because the boat would no longer work. I couldn't get the boat to work in any of the modes after I fixed fishing. Let me drive this over to the Earthworm Factory. Alfred Prom, hello. There's going to be a update some point tonight with the new save game. I had to fix fishing would not spawn into the map in Farm Manager mode, in single player or multiplayer. So I had to completely rebuild fishing. So there's going to be a new game save required with the map update. And now I'm going to need this other truck over here as well. So let me drive this over there. And then we'll go over the changes to fishing. So yeah, unfortunately the fishing boat is now just a pleasure cruise. It's strictly decorative. So when I fixed fishing for Farm Manager mode, the boat quit working. And I spent 6 hours messing with building a new boat, which didn't work. And I spent about 3 hours adjusting triggers. And I just couldn't get the fishing boat to work. So I said to hell with it. And it's now just a pleasure cruise. So I'll show you how you have to do fishing now. As soon as I get my vehicles over here. So if you do not want to use automatic distributing and you want to fish manually, here's what you have to do. And then let's run down here first. You now have to buy all of the fishing spots. So you have to come down here, you have to buy each individual fishing spot. So we're going to buy all 5. Yeah, I built 2 additional fishing boats on top of the one I had. I couldn't get them to work. and then I couldn't get the existing fishing boat to work in the water to pick. It wouldn't recognize the triggers. So you buy your fishing spots. You have to buy the Earthworm Factory. You're going to have to buy the warehouse that holds fish and earthworms, and you're going to have to buy the fish processing plant. So you're going to have to buy everything in order to do fishing. One important thing I have detected that if you use fast production mod, the new warehouse you made that sends crops to the production is failing and the crops disappear. I've not run into that problem. If you put it on distribute, your crops are going to go to the next factory that needs it. I don't have, unfortunately, I don't have the command in for my Patreon, but if you type in !maps, M-A-P-S, it will get you to my Trello board, and on the Trello board has the Patreon link. But yeah, if you have your bulk warehouse set to distribute and you put a load of rice in it, it's going to push it to the next warehouse that needs it. So it'll send it to the next factory. Alright, so here's how you have to, first of all, you have to buy everything. And then the Earthworm Factory needs clean fill and compost. So let's grab a load of clean fill, let's grab a load of compost. Let's grab a load of compost. Oh, wrong one. It's F12, and so I used F11 from 19. And let's grab some clean fill. Clean fill. If the mod fast production's running, yeah, then it's going to be that. Then don't use the mod with the map. Not that I can tell you there. There's going to be a lot of mod conflicts with this map. Like the terrain mod is going to conflict with this map. And if you use any kind of like fast production mods, yeah, they're going to conflict. Nothing I can do. That's all on you. Alright, so we should be making earthworms. We are. So I'm going to speed up time. Oh, wrong one. That's number 9. I want number 8. Let's speed up time. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of mods that conflict with the map. Especially anything that adds extra crops to the map, anything that boosts production, and that terraform mod is going to re-index all the crops so the crops won't be what they're supposed to be. Alright, so let's go back down to 1 speed. So now if you want to manually, so if you change this to, so if you take your fish, so we're at the, where are we now? We should be at the Earthworm Factory. So the Earthworm Factory is active, and it's on storing. If you change this to distribute, it'll automatically push the earthworms into the fishing spots for you, and you won't have to fish manually. If you want to fish manually, leave it on storing. You'll have to come in here, and you'll have to manually pick up the earthworms. And then you'll have to manually take the earthworms over to the fishing spot. Now the boat is useless because I couldn't get it to work. So I finally said to hell with it after like 8 hours. Yeah, just like my maps in 19, if you use a lot of the external mods, they're all going to conflict with the map. So you drop your earthworms off here. So there should be 5 different spots where you can drop earthworms off. They will only hold 10,000 liters each. So once you throw, I'm only going to fill 2. So once you throw your earthworms in there, so if you have extra earthworms in the truck that you don't know what to do with, there's a warehouse. So you need to empty the earthworms so you can pick up your fish. I'll answer questions after I'm done explaining the fishing. So I'm going to ignore chat for a minute. Alright, so if you have extra earthworms, you need to drop them off here. And this is basically a factory. So basically a warehouse. So it'll take extra earthworms and it'll take your extra fish. So I should be able to pick up fish here and I should be able to pick up earthworms here. And you can drop extra fish off there if the fish processing plant is full. So if you want to pick, now you need to pick up your fish to take them to either the warehouse or fish processing. So you come back to your fishing spots with your empty truck. And I'm just going to forward time for a second. And then I'll catch up on chat. So let me give it like half an hour or an hour. So now you should be able to come over here and pick up your fish. So start filling. Pick up your fish from here. And then pick up your fish. If you have all 5 spots working, you can pick up your fish in all 5 spots. And then you could take your fish to either the warehouse or the fish processing. So that's how you have to manually fish with the update. I couldn't get the boat to work in the water anymore. After about 8 hours of pulling my hair out, I finally said to hell with it. So you can take your fish, you can throw them in the warehouse. Should be an unload trigger right here. And there is. So you can drop your fish off there, or you could drop your fish off straight at fish processing. So unfortunately, no more boat. So you can drop them off here. Now, if you don't want to fish manually, and you just want the computer to do it for you, just come over here and change, wait for the auto save. So take your earthworms and tell it to, all right, let's go to the other factory first. That's the warehouse. Oh, that is the Earthworm Factory. So if we go into the Earthworm Factory, give me the menu. So Wonder Worm that makes earthworms, change it to distribute, and it'll automatically send them to the fishing spots for you. And then you have to take all of your fishing spots, tell it to distribute, fishing spot 3, fishing spot 4, and then fishing spot 5. Change it to distribute. And then take your fishing warehouse, change it from store to distribute. And then, so your earthworms will automatically go to the fishing spots. It'll take your earthworms, change them over to fish, and then it'll automatically send your fish to either the warehouse or to the fish processing plant. Alright, let me catch up on chat now here for a second. The Melted Cookie, hello, thank you for stopping in. Question, sir. Yeah, go ahead and ask your question. I have auto drive automatically from your map. All roads are mapped, and now any player can work instantly with Google Maps auto drive at the Alpha Prom. Thank you so much. I'm subscribed for €3, old man Patreon. How do I get the map? The map, I have to put the update out. The current link is broken. Actually, hold on a second. I need to take that current link down. I'm going to throw y'all on. Be right back. I need to take the current link down because it's broken. The update won't be out until tonight. So even if you download the map now, you're going to need a restart tonight. Let me take the link down real quick. Actually, I'm going to take both links down because they're both obsolete. So bear with me 1 second until I get them off of the Mega. All right. And then let me map. Oh, hold on. Bear with me 1 second. Map upload is down until the updates tonight. And then all maps from v1.0 to v1.1 require a new game save. Alright, so everything that you upload tonight is going to require a new game save. So let's jump back in here. I meant to take those links down last night and I completely forgot. Alright, so that's how you have to do the new fishing. So we need to work on some triggers. So let's get out of here. Let's save this. And let's go back to my desktop. Yeah, I want to get a couple more things fixed and get them to Dixie when I take a lunch break. And then we'll get the updates out sometime after dinner tonight. I don't want to put the updates out unless if we find anything that needs to be updated again today. Alright, so the first thing we need to look at is we need to look at anything that takes liquid, and the triggers for the new truck will not work. So BGA we don't have to touch. Carpentry mill, I don't think I have to touch. I don't think there's any liquids in here. There's not. Let me close everything I had open so we can start fresh. Alright, so carpentry mill I don't need to fix. Coal mine has no liquid output, so we don't need to fix those. Composter, let's look at the composter. Composter has... composter needs to dispense water, so we're going to need a regular trigger and a liquid trigger. Let's experiment with the composter first and see if we can't get a double trigger to work. Let me wait for the new tonight. Alright, so let's create a plane to work on. Just so I know where the ground is. And let's go look at the triggers. I think this only has a bulk trigger, so this does not have a liquid trigger. Where's my triggers? So we have the selling station, which is input. This has a loading station, which is just for bulk. So I got to see if we can get a double trigger to work. So let me go file, import. I'm going to import in one of the fishing spots because I know, actually let me pull in the fish warehouse because I know that that works. Let's pull the fish warehouse in. And let's see if we can't get a double trigger to work. So if I come into here and we go to loading station, I'm going to go edit, cut. I'm going to throw a second trigger in here. I'll leave the first trigger in. I'm going to throw a second trigger in here. Alright, so now that we have a second trigger, where did it go? Here. So now that we have a second trigger, so we should have a bulk trigger and we should have a liquid trigger. The Trello board, hold on. I'll send you the auto drive. You can include it in the new version. Okay, cool. I can add it in with the map download. Awesome. Thank you very much, Alfred Prom. Alright, let's see if we can't register the second trigger. So I don't need the second marker, so we can get rid of that. I don't need the discharge node, or maybe I do. Let's see. Let's pull over. Let's save this real quick, just in case something goes hairy. Now let's open up. We have the composter opened. Let's open up the fishing warehouse. Let's see if I can get a double trigger to work. So if we go to composter. It's not the selling station, it's the loading station. So right now we just have, it's only registering the loading trigger, which is for bulk. And we needed to register, actually this is the composter. So right now we just have this loading trigger, which is for bulk. I want to see if I can get a second trigger to work for liquid along with the first trigger. So I'm going to grab this. This is completely experimental. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but let's throw a second trigger in here. Let's call it loading trigger 2. So it's going to need a discharge node and it's going to need the AI loading node. Let's call it discharge node 2. Let's call it AI loading node 2, just so it's not named the same as the one above. Then I'm going to need loading trigger, discharge node, AI node. Let's pull these over to the composter. Let's throw them in here. So let's call it loading trigger 2, discharge trigger 2, AI loading node 2. We'll see if this throws errors, then I may have to separate liquid and bulk in all the factories. So let's grab our loading trigger. Let me map that. So our loading trigger 2 is now this number. Discharge node number 2 is now this number. And then AI loading node number 2 is now this number. So let's save that. Let's get rid of the plane and let's save that again. So this should now have 2 output triggers. I don't know if they're going to work yet, but it now has 2 output triggers. So let's jump back into the game and let's see if the composter will now work with bulk and liquid. Did I misread something, Alfred Prom? I'll send you the auto drive. You can include the new version. I can get. No, I can't. I'm gonna have to get you out after. I'll get together with you after the stream because I don't do well with Patreon. Dixie usually does all my Patreon stuff. So I may have to get you and Dixie to get together and work on Patreon. Like, the only time I go into Patreon is use voice. Patreon and I don't get along at all. Let's see if we can get the updated composter to work with bulk and liquid. Or if it's going to throw Lua errors. Double triggers in 22 are a pain. Let's check the log first. And see if it's throwing Lua errors. So far so good, no Lua errors. Let's see if the double trigger is now going to work. So let's grab... Let me see if this has compost in it. Oh, wrong building. Composter. Did I not put the composter down? I did not put the composter down. Still the composter down. It's probably why there's no Lua errors. There's not one on the map. Or did I put the composter down? Hold on. I'm losing my mind. I got too much stuff going on at the same time. Oh, you are the composter. No, that's the soy milk. We didn't put the composter down. That's probably why it's not throwing any Lua errors. Let's throw the composter down. And see if we can get the double trigger to work. And we'll see if it's throwing Lua errors. Let's throw it up here. Sorry if I'm ignoring chat. I really want to get my main focus to get everything running so we can get it out to Dixie today in the Patreons. Alright, so now we need to see if a bulk trigger is going to work and a liquid trigger is going to work. So we need to activate this. And I want to leave it on storing because I want to see if the triggers work. So let's throw some wood chips in here, and we'll throw some hydrogen and oxygen in here just to see if I can get the double trigger to work. Now that I have in the map, let me check the log again to see if it's throwing Lua errors. Alright, no Lua errors, but now we just need to see if the double trigger is going to work. So let's grab... let's get some more equipment. So let's grab another... Make sure my store delivery mod's over here. Let's grab another tractor. And let's grab another tipper. I'm going to go one step up on the capacity. Alpha prob means of Discord. It hates him, so... Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, Dixie's my Discord queen. I hate Discord with a passion. I refuse to use it unless I have to go into voice. I don't even go on and look at messages. I refuse to go onto Discord. I hate it. Oh, let's make some compost. Let's grab some wood chips. Yeah, Discord and I don't get along at all. I'm a Facebook guy. I'd rather deal with like anything on Facebook than Discord. Let's throw some wood chips in here. So now I'm going to have to, if this works, I'm going to have to fix every single factory that does bulk and liquid. We're going to have to put double triggers in. And then let me grab a new liquid truck. So it's over here. So let's grab this guy. And we'll open up the cover. And we'll throw some hydrogen and oxygen in here. And we'll get the composter running. And we'll see if we can dispense both bulk and liquid. And if it works on this factory, we can fix all the other factories. So I should now be able to unload hydrogen. I'm not going to put a full load in here. I'm just going to grab enough to test the triggers. All right, that should be good. That was hydrogen. Let's throw some oxygen in here. Let's throw about a half a load of oxygen in. Yeah, sorry. We've got to get all these triggers fixed so I can get Dixie the map first, so she can test, and then we'll get it up. Then I'll get everything re-uploaded for the Patreon members. All right, so it's making compost. It's making water. Let's forward time about an hour or half hour just to get some product in here. So it's making water quicker than compost, which is good because you need water in more factories than you need compost. Now let's see if the bulk trigger works. So I should be able to dispense out compost. So let's check that trigger first. Will I get compost? Awesome. Now, will the liquid trigger work? Will I get water out of here? Let me empty this truck. So there's nothing in it. Alright, so the truck is empty. Can I get water out of here now? Will it recognize the double trigger? No, it's not going to recognize the double trigger. Why? You do have water. You do have water. It will not pick up water. So it's not going to recognize the double trigger. So I'm not going to be able to put bulk and liquid in the same factory because I can't get the double triggers to work. Or it may be just this truck. Let me try another tanker that just holds water. It may be just that truck. Let's go into animals. Let's grab the in-game tanker, this guy. And let's see if I can get water out. That's like the third truck that I'm having problems with. Alright, well, you recognize the liquid trigger. It may be just the truck. Maybe you have to look at the water example in the yeah, I think it's the truck. We'll see here in a second. Is there an open cover? There is not. Okay, so this one will work. So that for some reason that truck won't recognize the triggers properly. So I may have to look into I may have to get with Papa's Smurf to see why this trigger will not work with so this truck will not work with the bulk trigger for some reason. So this should only have, if I go to my F5, so this only has the bulk trigger. This doesn't have a liquid trigger. It only has a bulk trigger. For some reason, this truck won't recognize the bulk trigger. It only recognizes the liquid trigger. So I had to change fishing over to all liquid triggers for this truck to work. So this truck will not recognize the bulk trigger. And I don't know how to fix it. It won't recognize the bulk trigger. It'll only recognize a liquid trigger. So, but over here I added the liquid trigger along with the bulk trigger, and it still won't recognize it. So over here, it still won't let me fill water. So let me forward time a little bit so we have water in here. It won't recognize the trigger to pick up. Now let me get out of the bulk trigger. See, yeah, it won't recognize the liquid trigger. Let me get out of the other trigger altogether. I may have to move these triggers and separate bulk and liquid. Will it pick it up now? See, yeah, it won't pick up the water. So it won't recognize water from a factory. What's my keyboard command to fill? Is it N? No, N's close cover. R. Yeah, it won't start filling. So this truck will only work with a liquid trigger. It won't work with a bulk trigger. So I don't know what's up with this truck, but you need it for fishing. Now, what other trigger only had, so this only had the bulk trigger. Does this thing have anything in it? This has resin in it, but it's not going to recognize the trigger to pick the resin back up. So I'm going to have to work on the truck rather than the factory. Yeah, see, this won't recognize the triggers. Any of the bulk triggers it won't recognize. So now we're back so this thing is basically only going to be good for fishing. You're not going to be able to pick up anything from the factories at that truck until I can get it fixed. Do I have anything that will hold liquids? I don't think I have any other thing in my mods folder that'll haul liquids other than water. So I have no custom trucks that will hold liquids at all. That's going to be a problem. Hauling liquids around is going to be a problem without a custom tanker. So these are only going to be the base game, like water, diesel, herbicide. Now we're going to have to find another tanker to use. Alright, hold on. Let me try something else. Let me get out of here. Let me save this. Let me put that other green truck back in my mods folder. Let me put that other liquid truck back in my mods folder. Maybe we'll have to use both and use that new little truck just for fishing. Let me try something here in a second. There shouldn't be any errors in the log. Let me reload the log. So I shouldn't have any errors with the factory or the map. Yeah, I believe it's the truck. Let me find, and I may have, let me check my recycle bin. Did I throw it in there? I took it out of, yeah, I did. Let me restore that. And let me go to my mods folder and see if it's put it back into here. It would be the MAN. I did not. So it probably put it in here. It did. Let me put this one back in my mods folder. And let's try that green truck and trailer. So let's jump back in here a minute. Papa Smurf has a nice one. Okay, I'll jump on his website and grab it. Let's jump back in here. Let's deselect all, select all. Now I should have that green truck that's been giving me a lot of problems, but I couldn't get it to work with fishing. Let me see if it'll work with liquids now. This way I don't have to add double triggers to every single factory. Alright, so let's grab this green truck. And I'm going to grab the trailer that goes with it. So I'll put it back in the, if it works, I'll put it back in the map download. Animals. Alright, let's try this and see if I can get liquids back out. So we should have, so we can test it on here because we have liquid in there, and we should have more water in here we do to test it on. So let's test the new truck, or the old truck. This one should hold all the liquids on the map. Okay, it'll let me open the cover. Let's test it without the trailer, and we'll test the trailer. So I should be able to take liquids in and out of here with this truck. Start filling. Okay, so I can get resin out. Okay, so this one will work. So I could take the resin out. I could put the resin back in. So this one will work with the liquids. I'll make the other truck fishing only. And then I should be able to take water out of here. No, I can't get water out of here for any reason. Why can't I get water out of there? So this one won't pick up the water either. Let me take the double trigger back out. Let me take the double trigger out and see if I broke the triggers. I'm going to make it just a bulk trigger. Alright, so if we come into here, I'm going to take the second trigger back out, which is this one. Let me take that one out, and let's save it. And let's go into here, and we'll take composter. Let's take the second trigger out of here. Let me close the warehouse so I don't accidentally make any changes to it. And let's take the second trigger back out of here. And let's save it. So I took the second trigger back out of the composter. So let's see if I can get it to work now. I'm double triggers for 22. For some reason, I can't get to work. Jump back in here and see if I can get shit in and out of the composter now. Yeah, today's going to be trial and error day till I can get the map back to Dixie for testing. Alright, so can you take water out of here now that there's only a single trigger? Yes. Okay, so the double triggers won't work. So I can get water in and out of here with this. I should be able to dump it into here. So I'm going to make this little truck fishing only. because it's not going to work with any other liquids. Yeah, it won't recognize any of the triggers. So I'm going to make this fishing only. I know it works with fishing. I'm going to take all the other liquids out of this truck, so it will only work with fish and earthworms. So let's update this really quick and then test it again. So let's get back out of here. Oop, wrong one. Let's get back out of here. And let me update that truck so it's only for fishing. So let me go into here. Oh, wrong one. Is it this one? It is this one. So let's go back into here. And let me make sure I have water in here first of all. Yeah, I had water in there. Let's make this one fishing only. Since it's not going to unload anything else. So it's only going to be for fish and earthworms. Let's save that, and then let's take the picture. I'm not taking credit for this truck. All we did was make it work on our map. And then let's go with a white text. And let's go with quick brown. And let's go fishing only. So this will only be for fishing. Let's save that. Let me close paint.net. I don't need it. And then let's jump back in here. Make sure it still works for fishing. Alright, let's go to Save Game 4. And I'll jump back in here. Oh, I didn't put it in my mods folder. Crap. Let's exit out of here. I forgot to put it in my mods folder. Come on, close. There you go. Let's zip it back up. And let's put the updated one in my mods folder. Let's test that again. So yeah, today's just going to be fixes and updates so we can get the map re-released with a new save game. Yeah, Alpha Prom, if you don't mind, yeah, just hook up with Dixie. Dixie's my Discord queen. Alright, so we should now have, this guy should now be fishing only. Let me just check the store to see if it says fishing only now. And it does. Okay, so that's going to be your fishing only truck. Let's just make sure it works with the earthworms and the fish again. So I should be able to pick up, oh, I changed this to distributing. Let me see if it has any more in here I can pick up. It does. Let's see if, so this will work with your fish, this will work with your earthworms. Let's get them into the warehouse. Should be able to unload right there. So I can put, so this will work with earthworms. Let's see if it'll work with fish. Let's see if we have any fishing spots that have fish in it. So this will be fishing only. The green truck you should be able to haul all of your liquids around with. I don't even know if I have any fish in here, but we'll see. Okay, there's 50 liters. So it will work with your fish, and it'll work with your earthworms. I don't have to mess with it. I don't have to mess with any more triggers. Just make sure the warehouse accepts the fish. So that's your fish only truck. This will be your liquid truck. So let's go back to where we started. Make sure all of these factories work now with everything they needed to do, and then I think we're done with testing. I think I'm good to send this to Dixie. So this is making solid fertilizer, liquid fertilizer, and it's now making herbicide out of water and potatoes. So that's working now. The Soy Milk Factory is going to take soybeans. It's going to get you milk, hydrogen, and oxygen. The hydrogen and oxygen you need to make water with. So this one's taking your hydrogen and oxygen and it's making water. We'll have to throw some hydrogen in there. This is now your liquid warehouse. So you can store it or you can distribute it to the next factory that needs it. And then your composter, updated composter, now makes compost and water. So you can take your hydrogen, oxygen, and you can get more water out of it. So this has compost in it and it has water in it. I'm going to check the triggers one more time. So this I should be able to get water in, water out. Or I'm sorry, water out, compost out. And I think everything is fixed and ready for Dixie. Okay, I gotta, alright, so we're gonna have animations with water, nothing I can do about that. So I can get, okay, so composter's working, and then this should now work. I should be able to get every liquid in and out of here. I can. So I can get resin out. I should be able to put resin back in. So that's working. I should be able to get compost out of there. Let's just double check that. And then I'll go over all the updates one more time, so y'all know what to expect. My testers, my Patreon. Alright, so I can get compost out of there. So that's completely working. This is completely working. Let's throw some hydrogen in the waterworks. Alright, bear with me 1 second. Alright, so I should be able to get hydrogen and oxygen out of here. Nope, this one does the herbicide. Wrong one. This one should now be making us... Hang on, which the hell one makes us hydrogen and oxygen now? I've had so many changes I can't remember. Now you're herbicide. You are hydrogen and oxygen. I was at the wrong factory. So I should be able to get hydrogen and oxygen out of here now that if you want to move it manually. So I can get oxygen out. Let's move that over to the waterworks. Make sure it works. And we'll take the hydrogen out. Okay, so I can move it manually. Let's grab the hydrogen. And let's move it manually. So you can move all your liquids manually. And then this should make water. I just want to make sure we can get the water out manually. Let me just forward time a little bit. So we have a little bit to come out. So let's make sure I can get water out of here. I think it's the same trigger. I think it's, oh, it's up just a little bit further. Right there, start filling. Can I get water out of here? I can. Awesome, so that's gonna work manually. Let's throw it in here. So every factory I fixed should now be working. And then I should be able to get water out. I should be able to get all the liquids out of here. I can. Alright, so everything I fixed is now working. Let me check the log, make sure we're still completely error-free. And then I'll go over all the changes and updates one more time. For the testers and Patreon members. Alright, so everything is still completely error-free. Alright, so let me go grab my list. So in order, because there has to be a new game save because of the updates. In Farm Manager mode, fishing was broken. None of the fishing spots would spawn into the map on a new game save for single player or multiplayer. So that's why I had to make I spent about 30 hours working on fixes and updates and changes. The other update I made is if you go into the map, you can no longer buy the city. The city is off limits. So the city and the mountain are completely off limits. You can't buy it any longer. Can't buy the city. You can buy everything else. You can no longer buy the city, the lake, or the mountain. So I made that change. I doubled the price of land to make the map more challenging. So all of the farmlands are now double the price of what they used to be, just to make it more challenging. So 400,000, 1.1 million. The two really big fields are about $3.5 million and $4 million. Your starter fields, if you start in Farm Manager mode or start from scratch, 183,000, 265,000. Your meadows, 172,000, 257,000. If you want to buy mining, 138,000, 171,000. Sand, 315,000. Silt, 151,000. So it's going to cost you a lot more. I've neutered the price of the raw material. So if you sell 2.5 million liters of coal off, you're now only going to get like $20,000. So the raw materials have been neutered, so you can't make $1 billion. All of the factories, let me go over to the silt mine. All of the factories, you can now get big vehicles in because I fixed the unload pipe. So the unload pipes, you can now get a wide vehicle in here on every single factory. So those changes were made on the ones built into the map and the placeables. The new vehicle is for fishing only. And then I added herbicide to the fertilizer factory. So the fertilizer factory will now make herbicide. And I fixed the Soy Milk Factory that we were testing earlier. And hang on, bear with me 1 second. The dog just let himself in. I need to close the door so it doesn't pick up the TV so I don't get a copyright strike. So bear with me 1 second. He thinks I have a snack for him, but I don't have any snacks. My snack bowl is completely empty. He usually pops his head in to say hello and it begs for a Scooby snack, but I don't have any. My bucket's completely empty, so he's just going to have to suffer for a minute. Alright, so those are all the updates and changes. This map is version 1.1, so built into the price menu, you will now see the apples, the cherries, the oranges, the lemons, banana, coconut, cocoa, pecan, almond, cashew, peanut, mushroom, melon, cucumber, hops, pepper, onion, garlic, pumpkin, cabbage, blueberry, and dill. That's all the orchard and greenhouse product. They're built into the map. I have the greenhouses built. I do not have the orchards built. So the product's built into the map, but you won't be able to make it yet. And then you're also going to see the whipped cream and sour cream. I'm still working on the dairy. So after the maps, about 2 weeks after the map's released, you'll get the orchards, the greenhouses, and the dairy. But the product's already built into the map for you, so you will not need a map update when the orchards, the greenhouses, and the dairy are released. I think that's everything I have to test. So the map updates are running error-free in all 3 starting modes. So New Farmer, Farm Manager, and Start from Scratch. So the map is now completely error-free in all 3 modes, and everything spawns into the game now properly in all 3 modes. The fishing boat is fixed. It's now pleasure only. So the fishing boat is decorative only, so it's just used for your cruising pleasure. It will not work for fishing anymore. So just take it out for a pleasure cruise if you want to cruise around the lake. Nothing I can do about it. Maybe a future update we can have the fishing boat working, but right now it will not. And that's all the changes and updates. So I'm going to get out of here for lunch. I'm going to grab an early lunch. Give me, bear with me 1 sec, I'll throw you all on ending soon. Let me throw you on ending soon first. Alright, I'm going to save everything and close it. And then I'll let you know what my plans are. Alright, so I'm going to get out of here for about an hour because I want to get everything re-uploaded while I'm eating lunch. I'm going to update the map. I'm going to re-upload the map so Dixie can have it for testing. I'm going to re-upload the mod pack so Dixie can have it for testing. Replace all the mods from both downloads in your mods folder because I've adjusted almost everything. The map needs a new game save. So I'm going to get out of here for about an hour. I'm going to get the uploads done so I can get them to Dixie. When I get back, I'm going to start a new, what I'm calling my realistic game save. And then we can start, I could do some play testing after lunch. Alfred Prom. Other bug I found is the water is not getting synced because, yeah, you can't drown in the water anywhere on my map. I can't fix that. Unless I go in and dig all of the water deeper, and it'll mess up the fishing boat. So I'm going to leave the fishing boat in. The fishing boat's going to be just a pleasure cruise, but your vehicles will not sink anywhere on the map in the water. I can't fix that. Because I don't want to make the water deeper, because it'll mess up the fishing boat. Any other questions before I get out of here? Patreon members, give us until after dinner to test, and then at some point tonight, I'll get you the links to re-download everything. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I'll catch y'all in about an hour. Somewhere between an hour and a half, I'll be back. Just depends on how quickly I can get everything uploaded for Dixie and then grab myself some lunch.